telling you some breaking news, and I have to tell you, this may be a stunning development to you. In the case of this 10-year-old girl who was thought to have died from a classroom fight, Raniya Wright remembers her name. There she is. She died last month, 2 days after she was rushed to the hospital from a South Carolina school. At the time, no cause of death was released. Well, we have it this morning. Diane Gallagher has been following the very latest developments. She's on set with us now. Diane, this is a shocker. I mean, this changes the whole perception of this story.
It really does change everything, and it gives us a little bit of guidance into why this has taken so long, which has been the major complaint of the family. 10-year-old Raniya Wright, who we've been told died after getting into a fight at school. Well, now pathologists are saying that she died from natural causes. Again, this is absolutely shocking that the fifth grader was not killed, that she died from what they're calling a relatively rare condition, commonly called AVM, arterial venous vascular malformation. And it seems to just be a collection of veins and capillaries on the brain. They say it's on the bottom left side of her brain, and that it essentially, it burst, it killed her. That they took so long to determine this, Christi, because they were going through testing to see if there was any kind of bruising, swelling, tissue damage on the inside to determine if there was any sort of trauma related to her death that could have caused this to have burst at that time. And they determined that that was not the case. I want you to take a listen to what they said just a few moments ago.
After meeting with the pathologist, getting all of the test results in, receiving all of the information from the investigative report that was prepared by the Colleton County Sheriff's Office and all the cooperating agencies that assisted him in his department. First, Raniya Wright died of natural causes. Second, there was no evidence of trauma on or inside the body of Raniya Wright that would indicate that any fight in any magnitude contributed to her death. And third, as a result of those findings, there will not be criminal charges brought in this matter.
Christi, we do know a little more about that fight itself and kind of what transpired that morning. They said it was about a 5 to 10 second slap fight. After interviewing roughly 15 people there, the solicitor says that the teacher was there in the room and broke it up. The substitute teacher was in there in the room and did break it up, that she was behind the desk at the time. We've been dealing with a lot of rumors about all of this, trying to sparse between them. But that, again, they said it was a 5 to 10 second slap fight, and that Raniya began complaining of a headache roughly 10 minutes after that fight. The headaches seemed to be nothing new, though. According to the solicitor there, Raniya had been going to a doctor for at least 2 years trying to figure out why she'd been experiencing debilitating headaches. She had 2 years. She had gone as recently as 2 weeks. I think they said 13 days before the fight happened, when she became unconscious in that nurse's office. But again, this is absolutely astounding for those of us who have been following this case.
Okay, so I want to bring back Dr. Davi here. When you hear this, and I want to speak to the timing of this first, because Diane brings up a very good point. A slap fight, she's been going through this for 2 years, and all of a sudden, after some sort of fight, 10 minutes thereafter, she's in a condition that requires hospitalization and she dies. They're saying there's no connection. We have to trust that, yes?
I don't think there's a connection either, because it's usually at this age that people who have an AVM can have symptoms. So the idea is usually people are born with it. They may or may not have any signs or symptoms from it. It's a tangle of blood vessels. So what happens is sometimes those blood vessels start to leak blood, and then that bleeding in the brain is very irritating, so it causes symptoms. I would say the headaches are the most concerning thing, because usually the symptom is that people have headaches as a result of that.
Well, how easy or not is it to diagnose? I mean, if she'd been going to the doctor for 2 years, you would think that maybe some answers would have come.
I agree. I mean, you know, at 2 years of headaches, you would think there would be some more evaluation, but it could be that maybe she had some other family history. Sometimes people have migraines at that age. They can have other issues around puberty. Usually people have more than headaches, though. They can have seizures. They can have some weakness in arm or leg. Same type of symptoms someone might have if they have a stroke or some other injury to the brain, right? So usually it's pretty pronounced. In this case, you know, if someone is older, let's say, they can have an AVM not necessarily from being born with it, but maybe related to high blood pressure and other medical conditions. But in someone this age, I would say it was probably leaking and then ruptured.
Is it treatable?
It is treatable. So people can have surgery. They can be managed with medications also. They can have other procedures that can treat it. But usually it's actually found either from symptoms or because, let's say, somebody who's older, they have other medical conditions and maybe they happen to have an MRI or some other type of imaging test of the brain.
Diane, go ahead.
You can usually see it.
Well, I was going to say that the solicitor, when explaining what the pathologist determined, they determined that she had likely had this from birth. But is it possible to have had trauma to induce that then, to cause this to happen? I know they said they didn't find evidence of it, but can stress or anything like that cause that to happen as well?
I don't think stress would cause it. Sometimes as you get older, maybe trauma could cause something to rupture, but I would say it wouldn't cause the AVM to form. Yeah. So it's something that's related to that tangle of blood vessels.
But that rupture, maybe.
Perhaps. I mean, you know, we have to kind of decide what type of stress, but I would say in someone who's older where they could get much higher blood pressures, I would say that's more of an issue. In a child, even if they get stressed, you don't necessarily see these super high blood pressures. So even if she felt stressed at the moment, if she had been having headaches for some time before that, I think it was most likely an AVM that was leaking and then finally leaked a little too much. They couldn't control it.
And just the timing of this being so, you have to feel for her family because, I mean, this, no matter what, they are, you know, they have said the whole time all they wanted was answers about they sent their daughter to school and, you know, she left
and
being airlifted to a hospital. You expect her to come back and, you know, they're now dealing with this 5-year-old, or excuse me, this 10-year-old, 5th grader who, you know, they don't have anymore. And this has been tough on that community, Christi, when we were there. I mean, this has really ripped parts of Walterboro apart. They've been frustrated and angry with the lack of information. And of course, they're saying it takes, you know, post-mortem, it takes a while to rule out some of this other stuff. But
well, I think we thank you for the clarity that you brought to us about this as well. We appreciate it, Diane. Thank you too for your great reporting. And I remember you being there. I know it's a tough situation there. Thank you. Thank you, ladies, both of you.